becoming a drag queen in a Mormon family sounds like it might not be the easiest thing. All right. Hi, welcome to Kudos for Spilling. I'm your host, Tanya Tsunami, and I'm here with my very special guest, Aurora Forte.
Hello.
Hi, Aurora. How are you?
Good, babe. How are you?
I'm good. You look gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. You look like a Linda Evangelista. You're a model.
Thank you so much.
Now, we know that reference, but you really are a model. I mean, you do it all. You're an LA-based drag queen.
Yes, I am.
You are
Indeed.
a model. You are a dancer.
At times.
Do not even lie, because I have to tell you, I was going through your Instagram, and I saw you playing Vogue on the saxophone, and it cuts to you doing an entire performance to Vogue, voguing, like full on Vogue. I mean, walking that dog, death drop, all of it. And I was just, I love, I'm telling you.
Thank you.
You are so talented. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for asking me to do this. I sincerely appreciate it. I'm always down for a good time. So once you reached out and you've always been good energy, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's chat.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm so happy to have you as a guest on this show. And you know, I have to tell you, your drag is like, I appreciate your drag so much. And then seeing the different facets of your performing, and you really do it all.
Thank you.
Modest. You're a good singer too.
Thank you. I try. I mean, I've always had just a major love and appreciation, a true like deep love just for music and theater growing up.
Absolutely.
And so when I found an avenue that I could incorporate it all and then really channel my divine feminine energy and make it like on 10, I was like, it just clicked for me. And I love playing. Why stay in one lane when I could play with all the lanes, you know?
Exactly. Right. And I say that all the time about drag, why it's my favorite of the performing arts, because it incorporates everything. And you are one of my favorite drag artists. I must say. No, absolutely. You know, I mean, it's a deserving title. You know, you also are a fashionista, I must say.
Hey, I have my moments.
How did you start? How did you get your start?
A great question. I would say I started about 12 years ago. Initially, I remember when I was first like presented with the concept of drag. I'm a kid from the Bay Area, so and growing up and like just with all my surroundings, I didn't really, because I grew up in like a Mormon household, so I was never really exposed to drag or queer culture as a whole until I was like 16, 17 years old. And anytime I was like in certain surroundings, the major like brunt of drag that I was initially introduced to, I saw was like the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and I saw like really, really high, dare I say, intense like forms of drag.
Right.
And it was very what's the word I'm looking for? Intimidating. It was very intimidating at the time. I was like, oh, but I also kind of liked the intimidation factor of it, because I was just kind of like, oh, it's making me feel something. And that's something that like always struck with me. But I also was like, arm's length, because I was always a little afraid. A few like years went by, but this was around when I was like 21. RuPaul's Drag Race had just like kind of like started making its way through the excitement through the queer communities. And season 3 was on at the time. And I know for many, like they were already like gung-ho about season 1 and season 2. I was of the audience that was really into America's Next Top Model at that time. And I even at one point was like really trying to go for like the modeling angle, acting, singing, of that nature, and finding my place in the world. And I remember the friends that I had close knit at the time. One of them was doing drag themselves, and they kind of unfolded this this other veil of drag where it was that pretty fashionista runway style. And I had only been really exposed to the high camp, like charitable Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. So I only thought that was the only way to do drag. And so therefore I didn't even touch it, like go anywhere near it. And then one night they put me just for fun. We were drunk one night, and they were like, she worked at Dior Cosmetics at the time, and so she was doing makeup day in and day out. And she put me in drag one night just to have fun and do something different. And I looked amazing, and I was getting all the compliments, everything that I wanted. I walked in heels, no problem. I was having no issue with it the moment I put them on. And something within me just clicked. And so I was like, okay, this is my introduction. This was cute. This was fun. And I think there was something within me that just like always was fascinated by the getting into just like feminine energy. Like I always had an admiration for makeup, hair, fashion, and always the feminine side of the modeling world. But I always kind of felt this like, well, I'm a guy, so I can never do that. And when I saw that I can get into heels and do all these things, and then I saw Raja on season 3.
Yes.
And saw that there was many elements of like, oh, I'm a fan of America's Next Top Model. She was Tyra's makeup artist on the show.
And
then
Project Runway, right?
And Project Runway, yes. And then seeing the way she glided down that stage and was unapologetically herself and was very like, fuck you to everyone else and what your concept of beauty is, and just like shined, something in me clicked. I was like, I see myself in that. That's something that I can get on board with. And so something just kind of clicked and made sense for me. And from that point forward, I just hit the ground running on studying like all facets. And I was very lucky and fortunate that early in my drag experience that Raj and I crossed paths, and we stayed in touch, and she would give me little tidbits of like advice and stuff here and there, and was always just so sweet and like motherly to me throughout that entire process. And I'm sorry, I'm giving my whole like drag life story, but
I love it.
A couple years into that, like I was really gung-ho. I even went to beauty school to master my craft.
Wow.
That was my intention, was to go to beauty school because it was funny because even my mom was like, well, if you're going to start doing this, you better at least go learn to do it correctly. So she supported me going to beauty school, and I started doing that. I had a lot of like personal issues unfold, and I had to get sober. And so when I went to rehab, sorted it all out. And then when I came out and had kind of seen drag with sober eyes, there was also another like step up from like why I'm doing this into like, this is kind of like a channeling of my own higher power of my understanding through the art of drag. And just like, this is somebody who I'm going to create and characterize and be somebody that I look up to, but in a way reflect, I believe in somebody that I look up to. And it's all still in essence an aspect of me, and always wanting to do things that I'm attracted to about drag and just elevating it. And from that point forward, like just like hand in hand with my sobriety and just my way of life, and just keeping that aim of humility and always wanting to be teachable, I just keep always evolving. It was like kind of also hand in hand with the concept of like evolving in the beauty world. Like you always just gotta always be flexible and moldable, and always be open to what can evolve and find out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And it's been just this entire journey that for me is never ending. It's always something and that's, I think, what's kept me on the path of drag, because there's a lot of things in my life, like growing up prior to drag, I would love something, I would be fascinated by it, and then I would lose interest, and then no more. Right? Drag has sustained within me ever so often, because it's just, I think part of it was the fact that it clicked in me. There's always avenues to explore and evolve, and it's an ever ending process. Like, it just, for me, it doesn't end, because I'm always looking at opportunities to grow, and just play with the different. And there's so many things to do with that. So it's for me, it's just a fascinating way of like just cultivating both internal growth through the external. And so it just, yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And how full circle that you and Raja cross paths, and that Raja is your drag mother, right?
She is, yes. It took a we've always been friends over the course of my experience with drag, ever since, that kind of like the moment I was inspired by her to the moment we crossed paths and then stayed touch throughout the years. I just moved down here to LA 2 years ago. And it was really funny because me moving to LA was a lot of her like kind of pushing me to do, because like every time I would like reach out to her, just check in with her, see how she's doing, what advice that I can get from her on this certain subject, da, 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 da. And then always like the common denominator in every single time she'd give me advice was move down here to LA, move down here to LA. There's nothing for you out there. Grow as much as you can, but then get the hell out of there. Get out of there and come to LA. And then the moment I did, like within the first like couple weeks I moved down here, went over to her house and she was like, okay, you're my drag daughter.
Oh,
I was like, what? She was like, well, yeah, the fact that you're independent and you've worked your ass off for it. So, and
you paid your dues. What I wanted to ask was, growing up in a Mormon household, I'm sure obviously you had different views about drag than your parents. And you and I actually have spoken about how important we both believe chosen family and drag family is. So has your chosen family, since you moved to LA, really like helped you through any of that? Like, have they helped you through it? Was it a struggle? Trying like becoming a drag queen in a Mormon family sounds like it might not be the easiest thing.
It definitely presented its obstacles, not going to lie. I will preface this though as saying that even though I mentioned like my Mormon upbringing, it was never a bad upbringing. Like,
Sure.
my mom has always been loving and completely supportive. I mean, even like tidbitting to the fact that like, oh, you're gonna do this, well, at least go to beauty school so you look correct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, very, you know what I mean? So that presents its own energy of like, there's definitely been like, I think they were just presented with something that they weren't planning on.
Right.
And so there was an adjustment there. But also my mom and I loved, like, my mom is like my best friend, and we literally talk every single day, and we bring it up often about just how like how for her it was just like, yeah, it may not have been something that like I had planned for you, but it's almost better. Like some of the best things in life are the things that have come unplanned, and something far better comes from it, as long as you find what your passion is and you just go for it and be fearless about it. And I think for me, there was definitely some maneuvering around. And when I first was starting, there was a very like F you energy in the very beginning, because I created this block for myself because I had already decided what they thought of me. I didn't even give them the opportunity to try to grow and understand with me.
Sure.
So that in and of itself created this blockade. And I consider myself very lucky, and I'm very grateful that I have a very loving family and like that supports me, that even when they have opposite like frame of minds on certain things that I do, that doesn't lessen their love for me. So I'm very lucky with that, because I know that's not the case for everyone.
Right.
But also that I took it upon myself to be responsible, and like I also love my family.
Yes.
So I want to do what I'm trying to figure out on my own.
Right.
And then when you're ready, we can work on this together. And by doing it that way, like my mom is like totally on board. My sisters are totally excited whenever I'm like doing something new and excited to learn about it. And so like my relationship with my family is beautiful and I'm very thankful for it. When it comes to like, of course, the chosen family who have a deeper like it's almost a bit of an easier understanding and love and
Of
appreciation
course.
for it. That definitely helped swell the evolution and the growth and the safe space to grow in that department. So that way I wasn't distracted by opposition of thought.
Right. And we need
You know
that
what I mean?
safe space, and you need to
Oh,
know that
absolutely.
you need to take up room, take up
Right.
space in this world. You deserve to, and you have to. And
Yeah.
I'm happy that you came to that realization, because I have to say, like, and like, people laugh when talking about meet and greets, when fans are like, I went through this horrible thing and then you put on a wig and saved my life. But it's more than that. It's like
Mhm.
it's not just like you put on a wig and save my, it's really seeing people, we're on the fringes of society, right? But like, still just being authentic and real, and also just, that the courage that it takes to do that,
Mm.
and it's very inspiring. I think that that's where a lot of people, why drag saves lives, you know
Totally.
and not just for the people who do it, but for, I mean, there's millions of fans of drag, now it's like gone, so it's like mainstream, even though this, the political climate might be a little
Right.
crazy, but
No, totally. No, I 1000% agree with you. I mean, I could say the same case for myself. I especially when I came like when I got sober and like throughout the course of like my upbringing in sobriety and like drag was a pivotal channel for me to kind of almost in a healthy way distract myself from the turmoils and the distractions that could have even compromised my sobriety. You know
of
what I mean?
course, yes,
Because it gives the opportunity to really, truly, you're getting this very disciplined opportunity to really look at yourself
yes,
and decide what you want for yourself and like figure out and make those mistakes, make those choices, make and like you're going through this whole explorative journey,
right,
this quest, so to speak, to really reintroduce yourself to who you really are. And and that in it of itself is that quest alone is what motivates and pulls forward. So that way you're not staying stuck and only looking at the distractions of what the world is trying to tell you who you are.
right, right,
And so, and what a beautiful display when queens are able to like show that and remind people of that, because they are taking our own journeys and putting it on display for the world and reminding people. It's that reminder like you can in this moment like take a look at yourself and either reinvent yourself or look and find the deeper and not be afraid to be that. And it's and the people that don't like it are afraid of that.
right, exactly, because people that believe, who aren't comfortable in their own skin, and believe that
Mhm.
people who are marginalized shouldn't be comfortable in their own skin, right,
Right.
they're the ones that don't like it.
Yeah,
But
because it forces people to have to look in the mirror, and
right,
there's people have created such a poised and pleasant facade that who are you to try to shatter that?
right,
And when people act in fear, they act in such a way where it becomes threatening, right? But I mean, truth always shatters doubt. Always.
I believe
Truth
that.
always is, and that's like, it's kind of coincidental, and I kind of take pride in the sense because there have been times over the years where I almost was like, Aurora Forte, it's not a play on words, it's not this or that. And even I asked Raja upon moving here, I was like, I have a unique opportunity to maybe reinvent who I am, and should I change my name? And Raja was like, absolutely not. Keep your name, it's fierce. And I was like,
It
okay,
is.
work, thank you. And also, like, you've already kind of branded yourself as such. And somebody like presented to me that like my name had deeper meaning than even I intended, is that like the name literally translates to tough goddess of dawn. And
Wow.
so like the goddess Aurora being the goddess of dawn, and then the Forte bringing the tough element to it. And so that kind of presented, I was like, oh, I, unbeknownst to me, chose this name. It has this deeper meaning that I kind of vibe with, that really is all about bringing out the light in others. You know what I mean? And being fearless about it, and protecting it, and just always going back to my core values of just honesty, integrity, things of this nature. So the things that many people like to get frustrated and frazzled about, but it's like, well, I'm just giving you the mirror.
And that's why
And
you don't like it.
and if you don't like that, that's your light that you need to work on, not mine.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's very, and yeah, it may tickle people the wrong way, but baby, that's not my thing to tickle. You know what I mean? That's not that. Like, I'm just existing and presenting, and I'm doing my part. And what I want to feed into the world is the beauty in honesty and integrity. There's
How,
beauty in that.
absolutely. How full circle too, right? To have been
Mhm.
in, dark places and come full circle, and like you said, be able to bring out the light in others. So
Yes.
that's beautiful. I wanted to ask you, Hamburger Mary's.
I actually, I just had my first performance there about a month ago. I'm performing there this Friday. I love the girls at Hamburger Mary's. They are always a delight, and the fact that they are giving this girl space to put herself on display and just share my light with the world is a total grateful moment. Like, I love that they're just giving me the chance and the opportunity. They are super sweet, and I'm very, very grateful for them.
So what's next for Aurora Forte?
And that's the begging question. I mean, honestly, I'm such a Pisces. At the end of the day, I'm
Go with the
to my
flow.
core, I go with the flow, baby girl. Whatever is being presented to me, I try to pay attention. Am I excited about this? Is this something that like really resonates with me? Because also I'm not really getting much younger, right? So I need to be
We're the
very
same
careful.
age. Be careful. No, I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
Yeah. So I'm very like kind of careful and with what I displace my energy, but I also want to, even though I put in work, I still am not too proud to understand that I still need to put in the work
Right.
always. And so I'm any opportunity that is presenting itself, but that also still reflects value in what it is that I'm trying to nurture. Because at the end of the day, I look as like Aurora as my baby, and I don't want other people disrespecting my child. So therefore, I'm making sure that like there's equal value exchange, that I'm not exhausting and putting her through something that I wouldn't want to put my own child through.
Right.
And so I am definitely kind of picky and choosy, but everything I do, I try to go forward with full force. I'm definitely, my current focuses right now are definitely social media, so trying to create a higher presence on that and figuring out my lane and my brand and my avenue. But I've like taken a little bit of a mental health break this last couple of weeks to really go inward and figure out what it is that I want. And like, I mean, I don't want Aurora Forte to just be a model. I want her to be a supermodel. And what does that look like? And really just trying to create an essence of where you see both sides of the lens as PJ and Aurora,
Right.
and give a raw realness factor, and give the people that lens, because we oftentimes only see the character that we present, but I want them to see all facets of it,
Yeah.
and be able to be in charge of my own journey with that. So it's can be maybe a longer, maybe more difficult road, but I believe in it. And I mean, my goal is again to bring out the light in others, and what better way to do it than to give everyone all of me.
Right. It is the road less traveled for a reason, but,
Yes,
and like you said, you have to make sure PJ's okay. So Aurora is okay.
exactly.
Otherwise, you're not going to be your purpose, what you're doing now, like we've been speaking about, bringing out the light in others, you have to have that yourself,
Exactly.
and you
Exactly.
and you do, and you radiate, and that's, I mean, I haven't, anybody that knows you, I never heard anything but love for you.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Thank
That's
you.
the truth. It's the truth.
Mm.
And where can everybody find you on social media? I mean, we'll put it in the description, obviously.
Yay! Yes,
But
you can find me on Instagram, and Twitter and Snapchat, all at AuroraxForte. On TikTok, at Aurora.Forte. And then my Venmo and Cash App are also AuroraxForte.
make sure you guys hit that up.
Period.
Thank you so much for being on the show. And
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to see what you do next. And I would
Oh,
love to have you back.
yes, absolutely. Anytime. I'm always good for a good combo. And you're such a good energy. Keep that energy up. You're beautiful. You radiate as well. That's why I wouldn't be here if you didn't.
Oh,
So
thank
thank you so
you.
much.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Mwah. Have a good one.
Thank you, you too, babes. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, babe.